All right, and I am ready to go. Okay, check, 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 1, 2. Okay. All right, thanks for staying with us here on this Friday afternoon. Another tornado warning been issued for parts of central Texas. So, of course, we're back with you here live as we continue to track this active situation across the area. And unfortunately, it is the exact same area that we've been watching all morning. It's going to be that Hill County area kind of crossing towards I-35. That's where the storms have been all morning. That's where we're still seeing areas of rotation right now. So as I put this in motion, you can see the storm in question is just it looks to be crossing the Bosque River right now into Hill County. So let's go ahead and do our velocity scan. We've been doing velocity scans all morning. Of course, that's the red and the green. That's what we're looking for. And so any area of rotation that we'd be looking at would be right here, just on the east side of the Bosque River. So this is the highway that runs from Meridian to Hillsboro. So we're going to zoom in and we're going to see where we are in this system. Again, just east of the Bosque River. That's going to be Highway 22. And it looks like this area of rotation is going to be right along Highway 22. And these storms all morning long and all afternoon have been moving to the northeast. So this is going to travel basically along Highway 22. And if it is traveling in the same direction that everything else has been this morning, then it looks like it would head for Hillsboro. So let's go ahead and put this in motion. And yeah, it is moving that direction. So again, that area we're looking at is going to be right in this region. So let's put a track on this. First of all, let's figure out how fast this is moving here. So we're going to just do a little quick question mark here. So 3:45, that's when this tornado warning expires. This storm is moving east at about 40 miles per hour. And so as we put a track on this, it is going to travel through Aquila, about 317, and that's going to be on the southern end of that cone of travel that we have there. By 324, Menlo, 335, Abbott, Bynum by 346, Malone 356, Salem School 357, Mertens by 403, and Emmett by 410. So you're seeing a lot of familiar names from this morning. We're seeing a lot of the same areas, the same locations that these storms have already gone through. These storms are training. What that means is just like train cars, they're basically playing follow the leader. So we had storm number 1, that moved through from about 10 to about 2, and then we had storm number 2 that developed in Hill County. They're right around 1 o'clock, 1:30, and now we have a third system that is showing signs of rotation here in this very rich atmosphere that we have today, and a lot of wind shear. Again, that's that changing direction of the winds with height. So again, taking a look inside, fairly tight, decent looking rotation here. And again, this is the area we're looking at right along Highway 22. Moving a little bit more east of northeast, so that should take it if anything, through the south side of Hillsboro. But again, the hope being that this just crosses I-35 in primarily uninhabited territory. So that's where we're looking right now. And again, this system is still very active. Another tornado warning in effect here. I want to go ahead and put it in motion one more time. And the thing that has been we've been repeating all day long is this. We're not seeing a lot of hail with these. We're seeing straight line winds, and we're seeing a lot of rotation. Obviously, the rotation is what warrants the tornado warning. This is in effect until 3:45. Again, we don't necessarily have any confirmed reports yet. I do want to jump on. I'm going to jump off. Actually, I can do it right here. I'm going to jump onto the National Weather Service chat so I can be hooked into all of our spotters and EMS personnel so that we can make sure that we're staying up to date on what's happening. Again, dealing with a tornado warning right now for Hill County. This one is just to the east of the Bosque River at this point, so just into Hill County, moving through Hill County, east-northeast, moving towards I-35. And again, we put that track on it to show you the towns in the path and when it should be there. And so first we find our area of rotation. Again, it's right along Highway 22, a little bit more broad now, and that's usually a good sign. So hopefully that continues to be the trend. But again, moving to the northeast, or the east-northeast at about 30 miles per hour. Vaughn, 316, 326 Chat, 337 Bynum, 346 Brandon, 349 Salem School, 353 Mertens, Pelham by 359, Frost by 404, and then Raleigh by 413. So if you're in any of the towns indicated on this list, you definitely need to be seeking shelter as we speak. Lowest floor of your house, interior rooms away from windows, that's where you need to be because this system is showing signs of rotation. Again, haven't seen any confirmations of spotted tornadoes, but again, this is showing rotation. It is moving to the east-northeast at about 30 miles per hour, so those towns are in the path. So definitely need to be aware of this situation. Again, Vaughn, Chat, Bynum, Brandon, Salem School, Mertens, Pelham, Frost, and Raleigh by about 413. This tornado warning, and again, in effect until 3:45 for basically just Hill County at this point. So again, we're going to keep an eye on it throughout the rest of the entirety of this warning. Again, a very active morning across the area. The one thing we were looking at this morning was would we be able to get the storms off the ground? It was never a question of whether the storms would hold together. Once they got off the ground, it was always going to be a question of will these storms get off the ground, and they have been able to do so. And in this is very rich environment that we're in, they have been able to hold together really, really well. Some of these storms have lasted for upwards of 4 hours this morning and into this afternoon. So we're going to go ahead and get logged in. I'm going to step off just real quick in case I have to log into my machine here, which I believe I do. Okay. Looks like Mr. Chris Radcliffe will be joining me soon. I've been talking all morning. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Yeah, no problem, Matt. Let them know that I'm on the co-anchor IFB and anchor Mike.
All right. So if y'all can hear in the back, it's he is on the IFB for co-anchors and he's on the anchor Mike. All right. All right, spotter report at 310, rotating wall cloud, hail size of 0. There is no hail with this storm right now. Wind speeds, again, is your mic on?
It's on.
He says it's on. Let's see, spotters are reporting circulation, a wall cloud over Lake Whitney, okay? And the source for this is amateur radio, so they're listening into those spotters that have their radios on their vehicles. So again, a wall cloud spotted over Lake Whitney. That was at 3:10, so just about a minute ago. And again, that could be somebody who was near Lake Whitney looking to the east, seeing this area of rotation. And again, it looks like it is just to the east of Lake Whitney right now. So that's traveling off to the east-northeast through, again, Chat, Bynum, Brandon, Salem School, Mertens, Pelham, Frost, and through Raleigh here over the next hour or so. And of course, by that time, we're getting very close to news time, so we'll have obviously more coverage as we head towards 6 News at 5. But right now, of course, the concern, Hill County, where we are seeing, again, another rotating wall cloud inside of another storm moving through central Texas right now.
Yeah, Matt, get me up to speed here. Where did this, is this like a wraparound from this first storm that went through? Because I now see from Italy all the way back up through Hillsborough, this storm is a lot wider and fatter. Did it just redevelop or what?
So these are the ones that were coming through and have, we were kind of watching as we were ending our coverage earlier, we were watching them kind of develop near Hamilton and Goldthwaite and Gatesville. And as they've moved northeast, they've just kind of congealed into one big storm, and it's now showing signs of that rotation. So.
Okay, and I see San Saba's back active again, which is where all this started this morning.
That storm hasn't gone anywhere. It's just not moving.
Okay.
At all.
Well, I'll continue to watch the National Weather Service for you here as you're monitoring, any rain totals, any tornado warnings. And then the wind has been a real problem.
Yeah.
This 50, 60 mile an hour winds that are ahead of the storm, it's just like, a match gets lit and then the kerosene is on fire and it just backs up. And the fuel on these storms is just incredible.
Yeah, we have plenty of it to go around today, that's for sure. So just take a look, even the straight line winds in these storms, 57 miles per hour out ahead of where we're expecting that rotation, 55 miles per hour. Even without the rotational aspect of it, these straight line winds very dangerous as well. They can be damaging in their own rights. Again, we said it earlier. I've said it 4 times today. I'll say it a 5th time because it bears repeating. Yeah, we talk about tornadoes all the time, but there are other dangers with these storms.
Here's another one. The National Weather Service is saying a flash flood warning for all 3, Hill, Ellis, and Navarro County. You got tremendous rain totals that you were showing me earlier today, 5, 6, 7 inches in some places.
Yeah.
And now they're getting dumped on again. So the runoff is not able to happen in those spots.
Exactly. And that's where we talk about these training systems. not like training like you're cross training, but training like cars of a train. Whenever the storm motion matches the setup of the storms, you get these storms one behind each other, just like train cars, and that's, like you said, Chris, I mean, that can lead to impressive rainfall totals, and you just don't get a chance for the water to run off. So as I turn on watches and warnings here, I'm trying to find, none of my products are showing the flood watches, but there we go. Oh well, that's your tornado watch until 6 p.m. Covers basically the entirety of the area. But again, most of the activity today has stayed in our northern counties. Hill County has been hit especially hard. Coryell had a tornado spotted going through parts of Coryell, McLennan County, before it eventually made its way into Hill County as well. Hill County, this is the second tornado warning that has spawned in Hill County. And again, it is all dealing with that area of rotation right there in kind of the middle of the storm, kind of right there, approaching the southwestern parts of Hillsborough proper. Move this down just a little bit. Again, that area of rotation is going to be kind of in this general region that we're looking at right now. And as it continues to move towards I-35, the towns that are in the way of this particular situation would be Menlo, Abbott, Bynum, Malone. So Abbott, again, we've already dealt with situations in Abbott today, and now
Sure have.
another potential storm about to move through Abbott. Bynum, we've said the name Bynum already today. Malone, Salem School, Irene, Pelham, Frost, Dawson, Blooming Grove. So this is what I mean when I talk about these training systems following each other like train cars. You're starting to see towns appear on these lists 3 and 4 times because these storms are following the exact same path, which obviously is not good. And then obviously after that, you can see that if our cone was extended a little bit further, it would include Navarro Mills too, which Navarro Mills is a town we've already said today.
When I was driving into work this morning, I heard on the radio about the activity going on in San Saba, and the National Weather Service, on their break-in on the radio, said, well, they're going to pop right up and they're going to head right up to Lake Whitney.
Yep.
Sure enough, you worried about Lake Whitney. We talked about them 2.5 hours ago. We thought they dodged a bullet, and now here we are looking at another stream of storms that are surrounding that area.
Exactly. And we were hoping, again, this is why I didn't leave the station. I knew this was, we always knew this was going to be a possibility, but what we were hoping was that the early storms would preclude this from happening. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. All right, so I do want to take a look at this storm in San Saba. It does have a severe thunderstorm warning on it. I'm a little, I don't want to say confused, that's not the right word. Concerned about the possibility of a false reading or something, because it is just not moving on me.
Again, we have a tornado warning now from the National Weather Service for Hill County.
Yep.
And this is going to produce a lot of hail, 1-inch hail, they think. So the hail has been all part of this bark today.
Yeah.
It hasn't really developed, which we're glad to say, but the National Weather Service has continued, with no pun intended, to keep that on the radar.
Yeah.
Because it has been such a serious threat. You've talked about the conditions, Matt, today with the cold air reaching the warm air. We know how hail develops as it falls straight to the ground. The recipe, according to the National Weather Service, is there, but we've spent most of our time talking about tornadoes today, but hail could just as easily, by 5 o'clock tonight, 4 o'clock, become a real problem.
Yeah, our updrafts, obviously that rising motion, which creates those towering, cumulonimbus clouds, they haven't been great. We've just had so much rotational energy in the atmosphere. Obviously, if we had higher updrafts, that would equate to larger hail. So, okay. All right, so what you're looking at now is I-35 at Highway 81 looking south, right? Is that still looking south? It was looking south earlier. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So it looks like, so we had the reports earlier of an 18-wheeler turned over near Abbott, and that appears to have been at least potentially cleaned up because traffic is moving southbound again. Now it's not moving northbound, and that is likely because of what you're looking at on your, let's go ahead and do the double box again. What you're looking at here as this area of rotation in this storm about to cross I-35 again, and so that's likely possibly, making people stop and maybe not necessarily want to drive into that, which of course is always the right answer. Don't drive into a storm, whether it's a tornado or not. You never want to drive into a thunderstorm, which can obviously reduce your visibility. Even if there's no tornado, straight line winds can blow you around on the road. So that's what we're dealing with as it again crosses over the I-35 corridor right now. In this one, just south of or just right along the town of Hillsborough. So that's the area we're looking at now. So if you're in Hillsborough, you definitely want to be in that safe spot because this storm is moving through. We said earlier it might move just to the south or it might move through, and it looks like it is going to move through the town of Hillsborough. So if there is a tornado with this storm, obviously you do not want to be anywhere but your safe place right now. Again, make sure that anytime we say there is a tornado warning and it's moving towards Hillsborough, the minute we say that, don't wait for it to get to Hillsborough. Get to your safe spot as soon as possible. And again, have a way to get warnings and get updates, whether that's the 6 Plus app on your phone, which is obviously more portable than a television, or whether that's a weather radio. I would always tell everybody it is a great idea to have a weather radio handy because you can take that to your safe place with you, obviously. So again, to recap, tornado warning still in effect, new tornado warning from the ones we dealt with this morning, now moving towards Hillsborough. And again, you can see that area of rotation there just to the southwest of Hillsborough. That's the area we're looking at. All right, and so our latest scan, so it just updated, crossing I-35 right now, still kind of watching this area right here, maybe just to the south of Hillsborough, just south of where 171 comes in to meet, or US 81 comes in, this little conglomeration of highways around the town. Just south of that, that's where we're kind of looking for that area of rotation. So if you're in this area, obviously avoid I-35. That is not where you want to be right now. This is just south of the I-35 E and W split. They're just north of Hillsborough, and again, possibly just south of town. So it looks like it is going to maybe clip the southern half of Hillsborough as it moves through right now.
And that's that storm that just left Whitney. I mean, 10 minutes ago, they said they were watching broad circulation at Whitney. We know out by the lake that was a spot that was targeted all morning long. Now we're seeing it, again, pass by there. It's moved its way north into the Hillsborough area. We talked about tornadic activity in Aquila earlier today. We were worried about a tornado that had touched down in Tours, Texas, and of course, which isn't really even a town. Tours is just a little dot on the map. You have to know it in order to get there. And then, of course, out Wortham Bend, we saw some tornadic activity that actually done some damage to some homes out there just west of Lake Waco in the airport. Yeah. So you're talking about this little sliver of area where you draw a straight line up, Matt, you can see where this storm has moved. The darndest thing is that it's repeating right now. Here we are two and a half hours later, and it's following the exact same trajectory.
Exactly, and it looks like it will continue to do so here for at least the next little while. Yeah. They're moving at 30 to 45 miles per hour. I still don't know what's happening down in San Saba.
It's just parked there.
It almost, again, I have to be wary of the things I say on TV because I'm not saying this is a thing. I'm just saying it almost looks like something's on fire in San Saba. That almost looks like a smoke profile, but I don't think it is. I think it's a thunderstorm. It's just not going anywhere. Yeah.
Flash flood warning put out by the National Weather Service for Ellis, Hill, and Navarro. So again, those are those rain totals that were large. Where a county like Bell County today's hardly seen anything. A little bit of drizzle. We've heard a little rain on the roof here at the Temple Studios. But other parts of our viewing area have gotten 5-6 inches of rain.
Yeah, and you can see this little thin area, like you said, this is where all the storms have been today. And the biggest problem with this area right now is not just with low-lying areas and urban areas, but you have the Trinity River, you have the Bosque River, you have the Brazos River. All these rivers kind of move through this general area, and so obviously they fill up, that moves downstream, and obviously these rivers can go over their banks when they get too much rain. So all these areas have just been inundated today. Absolutely. You look inside you look at the reflectivity. We're not even looking at the velocity right now. Obviously we will in just a second because of the rotation, but I mean, this is heavy rain within the cores of these storms. So yeah, definitely the other thing that we're dealing with today. So let's zoom in. Again, just a few things about this storm south of Hillsborough. So again, we look for these little islets that we see, this little area where potentially drawing in some drier air. Again, that's another indication of rotation, potentially right there in that area right near Chat, which, by the way, we showed Chat just a minute ago on our list of towns. It is now moving through Chat or moving close to Chat. And then from there, we'll continue to move off to the northeast. Again, there you go. That gives us a pretty good idea right here in this general region of where we were likely seeing that rotation. Again, just south of Hillsborough, moving through Chat. And then as we put our tracker on it.
Well, that is the spot right now that the National Weather Service is worried about for anywhere in Texas, is this spot in Hill County where they're continuing to monitor with a tornado warning.
Yep. Chat, Bynum, Salem School, Irene, Pelham, Emmett, all these towns. If you're on the list.
Yeah, those schools are going to be letting out here in the next couple of minutes for a weekend, and they're rural, they're small schools.
Yeah, and I
dangerous situation, yeah.
You know, this might be one of those situations where the kids and the buses are delayed a little bit. You keep them in the school. The safest place to be, obviously, is inside of a building. So, you know, in between TV jobs, you know, I taught for 5 years, and there were times that we were either, you know, we missed classes or we were late getting out of school because we were sheltering in place because of weather. If you have to stay, you know, 5, 10, 15 extra minutes after school, that's better than the alternative. I know there's probably a lot of parents watching who don't like what I just said, but at the end of the day, safety is paramount.
Well, and you can't be trapped. You can't have a line of parents or grandparents sitting in cars outside of a school when a weather event comes through. So, you know, that is a situation where cooler heads need to prevail. Exactly. I know that Midway schools today sheltered in place, so they send it out district-wide.
Yep.
Well, you've got some schools right over by I-35, like Spring Valley. Then you've got Spiegelville, which is up Highway 6, which was directly in the path of the storm and the possible tornado that you were talking about earlier today, Matt. So you got to err on the side of caution when it comes to that, for sure.
100%.
But I'm worried about the Dawsons of the world right now, the Itleys, that as school is letting out on a Friday, sometimes parents have a 15, 20-minute drive to get from the farm to the school to get the kid and then get back safely, and that can be a treacherous time. We do have team coverage. Bailey Bates is up near Abbott right now. Rocky Bridges, our chief photographer, had made it all the way up to, well, he was almost in Navarro County, right, with his coverage.
He almost left the viewing area.
Yeah, so we are on those spots, and we're checking out any damage to update you. But again, with the second round, the first thing we're thinking about is keeping our employees safe as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we were kind of saying earlier, is always know which side of the storm to be on. That's part of going out on these storms, and you always want to err on the side of caution, which for these storms has been basically the south side. Let's take a look too. I've been watching obviously the velocity for a rotation, but let's check and see, because the National Weather Service did mention the potential of hail. I do want to see what we have going on, and so if you look in Hillsborough, we are dealing with a pretty strong hail core as well, in addition to everything else. Right there along I-35 as it moves up towards Hillsborough, we do have a pretty strong hail core there just to the south of town. As we take a look inside the storm, 1-inch hail. And again, you can see the very heavy rain there, and this is again I-35 at 81. You can still see the northbound traffic very slow. And again, I'm not 100% sure about 81. It's likely going to be in this area, so obviously you can see the traffic going north is kind of at a stop because of likely weather-related conditions. Very heavy rain on the traffic cam. Take a look at the cars as they move through. You can see a lot of water ponding on the roadway, being kicked up by their tires. As Chris said, there's been a lot of rain with this system in addition to everything else that we've been dealing with. It's good rain if you don't get it all at once. That's the problem, is we're getting it all at once, unfortunately.
Well, the great quote from Reggie Jackson, he said he was a fastball hitter, and facing Nolan Ryan, he said, well, everybody likes ice cream, but nobody wants to eat a gallon at once. So we all want our rain, and we would like to space it out over half an inch a day for a couple of weeks when we need to order it, right, Matt? But unfortunately, Mother Nature doesn't work like that, and unfortunately, Reggie Jackson couldn't hit Nolan Ryan very well because it was for real.
Yeah.
But we're having that kind of day today where the Nolan Ryan fastballs just keep coming.
We're getting everything all at once, unfortunately. So again, crossing I-35 should be the area of rotation. Again, this looks a little bit messier, so hopefully what that indicates is not an issue with our radar scans. Hopefully that is an indication that this is starting to get a little bit wider, a little bit broader, but obviously definitely worth keeping an eye on. Again, looking at this area here just as it crosses I-35 down south of Hillsborough there. So again, kind of this area right in this location, that's where we're looking for that rotation. It's pushing across I-35. We'll continue to do so here over the next several minutes, and then it'll be on towards, we've already talked about, towards Bynum, towards Salem School. Let's go ahead and put another track on it just to get those towns back on the screen. Yep, Bynum by Chat. I believe it's already moving through Chat. Bynum by 342, Irene 358. So that's what we're dealing with right now as we speak. Take off our scope, and you can see the tornado warning is in effect for basically the entire width of Hill County. And again, you can see a little bit of a hook maybe developing there, so maybe a little bit of a an inflow notch developing right there just to the north of Abbott. So again, if we're looking for something, it's going to be in this general region right here. Again, if that's what I'm seeing, if our radar isn't just throwing things at me that aren't necessarily there. So again, see a little bit of hook, probably rotation in this area right here, crossing I-35 as we speak, and we'll continue to do so. Let's again take a look and see when this particular tornado warning is set to expire, 3:45, and we're going to continue to keep an eye on that and see if... all right, let's go ahead and take... so Bailey Bates and Rocky Bridges out there, let's take a look. Can y'all hear me? Are y'all's mics open?
Yeah, mics are hot right now. We are currently in Abbott at a truck stop. This is just south of Chat. What we're looking at right now is obviously lots of heavy wind, lots of people traveling on I-35. I think we are just south of the rotation that you are talking about right now. We haven't seen any hail coming down here in north parts of Abbott. I know that you were just showing that there might be a small hail core. Haven't seen that here yet. Lots of heavy rain. We've got the parking lot flooding. Rocky Shot here is looking, which way are we looking? West?
West.
We're looking west on the shot that you're seeing on our screen right now. So we're sitting here at a standby hoping that the rotation is just north of us as we closely watch the storm. Obviously, we are trying to be the safest conditions that we can be in, but hoping to keep bringing you live reports. But once again, lots of people traveling northbound I-35 right into that storm. That's definitely not what you want to be doing right now, as we are under a tornado warning. That I know you've been talking about that warning. So that's what we're seeing here. No hail, so that's good news. No really strong winds, but the clouds are really putting on a show out here, and that's what we got here from Abbott.
Yeah, for sure. And you said you're looking west, so you're kind of near Abbott, south of Chat.
Yeah,
So yeah, you'd be looking kind of into that
yes,
area
exactly.
That we're
looking
about.
west, just south of Chat.
Just south of Chat. Okay, so if you're more up here, you're going to be north of that. Let's take a look. Let's see where that rotation is, because we may.
Yeah, the concern from the National Weather Service right now, Matt, is over the Hillsborough area and just south, right in that spot where you're talking about. You can see from the live picture, it's very dark where Rocky and Bailey are.
Yeah, and you can see on the last scan, it's moved kind of by them. And so again, that's kind of that area that we're looking at. Let me do another velocity scan, see where that is. Again, it's getting very muddied. Our velocity scans are, but it looks like that area of rotation would now be west or east of I-35. Again, south of Chat, kind of potentially in this area right here. Again, getting a little bit muddied with our velocity scans, but again, that could be a good thing. That could mean the rotation is falling apart.
What do you mean by muddied for the layperson here?
So when we look at these tight rotations, we're looking at situations that are like almost like a pinwheel.
Okay.
Right? And so that's not what we're seeing on this scan. We're kind of seeing it's kind of more broad. There's no area where it's very tight where they come together, again, like that pinwheel. Kind of have this little notch in there, and that's, again, a little sign of more broad rotation. It's just not it's not a clean image where you're seeing those tight divisions between the green and the red.
Okay.
So that's what I'm looking at. And again, that could be a sign that the rotation is broadening, perhaps weakening a little bit. That would obviously be ideal. It would also be somewhat expected at this point because, again, we're just traveling into areas where the atmosphere should be spent at this point. still lots of moisture, lots of lift in the atmosphere that's keeping these storms going. Let's take a wider look. Again, still seeing those storms stream from southwest to northeast across the area right now. Still very curious about what's happening in San Saba.
Yeah, I can see from your radar there now as we look at when it stops right there at 3:30, which we're at 3:33 now. Sydney Deshawn is the other member of our team. She went to check out damage in China Spring. It's virtually dry now over China Spring. So whatever damage blew through there earlier in those strong winds certainly affected the area, but now it's all moved up north and just popped off at that I-35, Abbott, Hillsborough, just north of their area, all the way up into Italy.
And as I'm looking at our reflectivity, again, potentially that little hook that I was seeing before, maybe that's dissipating as well. Good. So these would, again, if that's what's happening.
Yeah, but healthy rain totals. Look at this, almost 3 inches in an hour, 2 3/4 inches. And that's a lot of rain we've gotten today across our whole area, and it's reloaded.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the totals once they come out here over the next day or so. Yeah, again, a little bit of a muddier image here. That's what we're looking at. Hopefully that is a sign that this storm is weakening, at least a little bit. As far as the actual wind speeds are concerned, those are not weakening. We are seeing still these very bright colors that are indicating possibly 60 to 70 mile per hour winds.
Well, I can confirm that. The National Weather Service is now saying 60 mile an hour winds and quarter-sized hail all the way through Navarro County. And then even up into Ellis County. So this storm is gathering strength as it continues to leave our viewing area and head up to the northeast and almost up to the Metroplex. And we know from all the growth up there, Matt, you lived up there for a while, so many homes, so many subdivisions on the south and southeast side of Dallas.
Because this storm, it looks like what it's going to want to do is kind of track along the Navarro-Ellis County line. I mean, Ennis is a growing town. Yeah. You know, they recently, just about a month ago, got done with their Bluebonnet Festival. And so, yeah, basically both the I-35 and I-45 corridors are hotbeds of construction and expansion. And so, you know, we always talk about when we see these storms, you know, for storm chasers, it's fun to go chase a storm. It's fun to see them in a field. Unfortunately, in a lot of parts of Texas, we're running out of field. Yeah. So, you know, the more and more that we build and the more and more that potentially our springs start to expand a little bit, I think the more danger we're going to run into over the next several years.
So they've extended that severe thunderstorm warning for Ellis and Hill County. And they say watch out for that hail, and we could see strong winds of 60 miles an hour at any point through these storms.
So I dare to say good news. Hail is never good news, but the good news is they're talking about the expansion of that severe thunderstorm warning. What they haven't talked about, I guess, is and what I haven't seen pop up on our radar yet is an expansion of the tornado warning. So my feeling is that tells me they're seeing what I'm seeing and perhaps are about to let that expire here in the next 9 minutes or so.
Yeah, Lake Whitney was the last one that they were really worried about, and there's been no comment on that in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah. But again, you see the new yellow watch box, or warning box. This is that severe thunderstorm warning. That is the area where we could see the wind and the hail really develop here over the next hour. It's the same storm that had the tornado warning, but we're just kind of, this is what we call expanding the warning or extending the warning downstream, because this is where the storm is headed. And if we let the tornado warning expire, then we'll be left with the potential for some strong straight line winds and hail damage. But again, 1 inch hail is better than the 2 inch hail we were seeing earlier, but it is still not great. It will still give your car the meat tenderizer treatment, and it will still cause injuries.
Okay, they are allowing the tornado warning to expire for Hill County.
All right, so I'm glad that that part of it
National Weather Service just announced.
All right, so here's your traffic game. Again, same one I've been showing you around Hillsborough all morning long. Now you can see traffic is stopped in both directions. There's a couple of reasons why we always say, the obvious reason we don't want you traveling in these storms is because a tornado will take your car and it will throw it around like a rag doll. The other problem is the more cars that are on the road in these adverse conditions, obviously wet roads means hydroplaning, could mean more wrecks, and more cars on the road means more issues. And then if you end up in traffic because there are too many people on the road and then somebody gets stuck in a tornado because they can't move, obviously that's a problem. So we always say, traveling, not a great idea. And unfortunately, we have seen a lot of traffic on I-35 already this morning through Hill County. So the good news is this tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. I showed you the velocity scans. They looked like they were weakening, and that does appear to be the case. Do still have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Navarro and Ellis County. And again, that's going to be for the hail and the wind. But as long as that tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire, I'm going to let everybody get back to their programming. 3:38, I believe we are coming up on Jeopardy time, if I'm not mistaken.
4:30 to 5.
4:30 to 5 is Jeopardy. Okay, so I honestly don't know what's on right now. I feel bad. But as long as the tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire, we'll stay on the KCENTV.com website and on the 6 Plus app, but we're going to let you get back to programming as we let that tornado warning expire here in the next 5 minutes or so. As long as the rotation has gotten down to a point where we don't necessarily have to worry about that aspect, we will let you get back to your programming. For now, Chief Meteorologist Matt Farrell for 6 News. Okay, thanks for staying with us here on the streaming service, our 6 Plus app, and of course KCENTV.com. We're still watching these storms, still have some kick to them. The National Weather Service did say that they're going to allow that tornado warning to expire. I was showing you the scans earlier. They weren't looking terribly clean from a meteorological standpoint, so I had a feeling that the tornado warning was going to be allowed to expire. I just didn't want to say it when I was on TV. But it is now kind of been de-escalated, if you will, into a severe thunderstorm warning for straight line winds and hail. So what we do want to check, now that we don't necessarily have to worry about rotation anymore, we do want to take a look at the hail situation inside the storm. And again, look at your velocity scan. The reds and greens are kind of all over the place. That's very broad rotation, nothing necessarily tight there. Let's take a look at the hail, though. As it moves along 77 there, you can see that bright blue color, probably around 8/10 or 9/10 of an inch. Yep, 9/10 right there. So that's what we're seeing, just below an inch. And 1 inch hail, that is your severe criteria. Anything an inch or better, that's what we determine as a severe thunderstorm. And of course, winds in excess of 58 miles per hour, which we have been seeing, straight line winds, very strong this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this box. I'm going to let this play for a minute. All right, and then I'll be back momentarily with an update.